Right out the gate, we're going to talk about it tonight. Everybody else is talking about it. Why shouldn't we talk about it right here on the Seth Joyner podcast? The 600-pound gorilla in the room. A.J. Brown, Jalen Hurts. Believe it or not, I've seen this picture before. And I've seen it way before T.O. and Donovan McNabb, believe it or not. Back when Randall and Mike Quick had somewhat of a beef, I can remember Mike Quick running down the field wide open. Randall looked at him, patted the ball, checked the ball down. Now, believe me, I'm not saying that that's what Jalen Hurts did to A.J. Brown. I'm going to break down that play where A.J. should have threw it, Jalen should have threw it to him. Probably would have been a touchdown early in the game. But we also seen this picture with one Terrell Owens and Donovan McNabb. Now, I'm not saying that either one of those situations is similar because neither one of those football teams, were probably in the position during their blow up as this football team is. Okay? And for you guys that want to be mad at Brandon Graham, saying that Brandon Graham should have kept stuff in-house, listen, I agree 100%. Okay? But I think there's a method to Brandon's madness and why he did what he did the way that he did it. Okay? I'm of the belief that this isn't something that just cropped up all of a sudden. I'm not of the belief that this is something that caused the Eagles to go in the tank last year. I'm hearing some of that, on WIP and every place else. What I believe is last year was a unique situation. They weren't as talented as a team. They had a shitty coaching staff, okay, that couldn't figure out how to fix the problems, okay? And talent-wise, they were nowhere near the talent level of this football team currently possesses. Okay, so let's step back and let's break it all down. I believe that Brandon Graham said what he said because he, in his heart of hearts, believes that this is something that A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts can't and won't repair on their own. Okay? So he kind of threw it out there for public consumption. Followed that up with, hey, I just want to win. We got an opportunity to win another Super Bowl. We got an opportunity to... Listen, he just wants the damn thing fixed. And maybe in his mind, he thought the best way to get it fixed is to throw gasoline on the fire, start a 4-alarm fire, and maybe the fire department will come and put it out. At the end of the day, who's the fire department? In my opinion, that's one Nick Sirianni, okay? He is the CEO/head coach of this football team. The players rallied around him when everybody was crying for his job after week 3, week 4, throughout the entire bye week. They questioned whether he could be the guy to lead this football team forward. And he righted the ship from week 6 for 9 straight wins in a row. Nick Sirianni, it's time for you to step up. Get your number 1 wide receiver, get your franchise quarterback, take him into an office and sit down as the unquestioned leader of the football team. You, the head coach, are the only one that can fix this. Okay? Nobody even wanted to acknowledge the fact that Randall and Mike Quick had a problem back in my day. Everything between Donovan McNabb and Terrell Owens has been well documented. Okay? To this day, they still don't like each other. Both of them chimed in yesterday. Donovan saying, he should have kept it in-house. He should have went to the person that, you have the problem with. Of course, Terrell Owens chimes in, look at the pot calling the kettle black. Couldn't imagine if we could have handled it that way. If you would have handled it that way, we probably would have won Super Bowl 39. Bam. Out the gate. Okay? This situation is markedly different. And let me say this. When you have 53 guys on a roster, the likelihood that everybody's going to get along, the majority of the players are going to get along, is almost impossible. Listen, I've had players on my team, players on my side of the ball, players on the opposite side of the ball that I couldn't stand. But on Sunday, we always put on the same color. And if we put on the same color, that means we're on the same team. That means we're striving for the same thing. Okay? So for that 3.5 hours, whatever I felt about that player, okay, that went out the window. I would come to his defense. I would risk being tossed out of a game in defense of my teammate. This is how teams operate, okay? And I think that, like I said, Nick Sirianni is the one that has to remedy this. And he's got to remedy it now. I'm sure those conversations have happened, but the rhetoric is going to continue. And this is the problem with Philadelphia. It's not a problem, but it is what it is, okay? The media, of which I'm a part, as you all know, we're always looking for a story. So this controversy that began on Sunday night after the game, the posturing by A.J. Brown, was what really set it off. You can just move BG's commentary to the side, because that's after the fact. He just shed light on a problem that was already existing. But you could see A.J. Brown after that game on Sunday was pissed off, okay? I don't think he was pissed off because of the struggle they had, but I think he was pissed off because of the opportunities that were missed. And listen, I've been an ardent supporter of Jalen Hurts. I still think he's that dude. I still think he can be that guy. But if I'm going to be fair and equitable, then I got to step up on here tonight and give Jalen the criticism that I would give anybody else. Jalen's got to play better, plain and simple, okay? I know he's doing a lot. He's got a lot on his plate, okay? New offense, new offensive coordinator, new quarterbacks coach, okay? Asked for and now has the responsibility of taking on protections and calling those out. And then trying to be the point guard that dishes to everybody and keeps everybody happy. Not an easy job. Not an easy job whatsoever. But he's got to play better. There are times when there are receivers that are open, and he's just not getting the ball to the guys that's open, okay? And you guys have heard me talk about in defense of him, sometimes we don't understand where his progression actually goes. Is it from left to right? Is it from right to left? Where does his progression start? So he's going to miss some things. And guess what? Newsflash, Mahomes misses some things. Josh Allen misses some things. We watched Lamar Jackson in our game miss a whole bunch of throws, even wide open wide receivers, just overthrew the guy, okay? So I say that to say that our quarterback is going to make some mistakes. He's going to have some issues, okay? But when you got guys that's right there in front of you, that's wide open, and from what we can tell, you're looking right at them or you're looking in that direction, you got to learn how to expand your vision and see it all. Part of being the quarterback and being an effective quarterback is your ability to close your eyes and know where everybody is on the field. And take a ball and throw the ball in that direction and be within 2 to 5 yards of that guy with your eyes closed, okay? If you can't operate in that manner, then you're not going to be the most effective quarterback in the National Football League that you potentially could be. All the great ones do that. One of the hindrances, in my opinion, for Jalen is that every single year he's got another playbook that he's got to learn, a new route tree that he's got to learn as far as where his receivers are, okay? If we could get him in a system 2, 3, 4 years where he understands these plays one after another, after another, after another, and he knows where everybody is on the field and where everybody's supposed to be, I got to assume that at some point in time, he could run that offense in his sleep. At the other end of the spectrum, what I saw was an apprehensive, overprotective quarterback. And that's what's causing him to be among the leaders in getting sacked in the National Football League as well, okay? When I look at Jameis Winston, and I'm not making a comparison for any other reason, but the fact that Jameis Winston don't give a damn. Jameis Winston is just going to sling it, okay? He going to throw for 300 yards, and he going to throw for 3 touchdowns, but guess what? He may throw for 3 interceptions. Now, I'm not saying that Jalen needs to err that far on the side of, of that deal. But what I'm saying is he's got wide receivers that understands that if I put the ball up and I throw it on time and I throw it on rhythm, if it's off a little bit or the coverage is better than what I expect for it to be, my receiver's either going to catch it, because A.J. Brown is the best 50-50 wide receiver in the National Football League, in my opinion. But my guy's either going to catch it or he's going to knock it down and ensure that I don't get the interception. But you got to realize in the back of his mind, he's hearing all the criticism over the last 7 games of last year when he was turning the ball over at an alarming rate. All the criticism, over the first 4 games of this season when he was turning it over at an alarming rate, okay? And maybe, just maybe, they minimize the amount of passing attempts in order to minimize the amount of mistakes that Jalen could potentially make. Here's another theory. I believe that the offense got started real slow. And you guys remember me talking here in week 3, week 4. I said that for a while, the Eagles need to go to a running attack, step by step, build Jalen up, and let's make him a manager, a game manager for now. Because if we can establish the run, then you can implement play action passes, bootlegs, misdirection plays where you're half rolling Jalen out, okay? But the first thing you got to do is you got to establish the run game. Lane Johnson, Jordan Mailata, Landon Dickerson. They all go in at the break and have this conversation with Nick Sirianni. Hey, listen, we got Superman back here. We got a beast back here. We need to ride this guy. Put the game on us. And now we got a running back who just broke the record for the most yards in a season with, 4 games left? Even if you go back to a 16-game schedule, he's broken the record in 13 games. I think what's happening with the Eagles right now, and dare I say it because you guys know that my mentality is completely different. I think that the Eagles in some way has fallen in love with what's going on with Saquon. Because you remember I said they should transition and make Jalen a game manager, dare I say it, at $51 million. But that's going to help him. Because what did I say? Slowly but slowly, step by step. Then you build him up and you get him to a place where you can begin to ramp his passing attempts back up. But they're having so much success running the football that he's been stuck at right around 21 passing attempts ever since week 6. But the team is 9-0 since that point. Okay? But you still have to ramp him up. You still have to get his confidence going. You still got to get him to a point where when his back foot hits the ground, he knows where he wants to go with the ball and he gets it out of his hand. Now, I don't know what the hell goes on in practice, okay? But there's this old saying that the same way you practice is the same way that you play. Now, I find it hard to believe that the way that Jalen Hurts has been playing is the way that he's practiced. Because I just can't see Nick Sirianni and Kellen Moore and the rest of that staff being okay with him completing balls the way that he's completing them in practice. Because I'm sure one thing, he is playing the game the same way that he practiced the game. Okay? When he's got a play call and that ball goes to a specific receiver, and this is the problem. When quarterbacks don't broaden their vision to be able to see everything that's going on in practice, if that guy's the primary, that guy's getting the ball. Jalen doesn't look at that guy and determine right now, my primary is not there, let me go to 2. No, he waits for the primary to come open. And he's got a lot of confidence that at some point in time, whether that guy's got to adjust or what, that guy will come open. You can't play quarterback like that. You got 1,001, 1,002. By the next half, that ball should be out of your hand. Jalen's not doing that. And for the most part, he's getting great protection. Because I think that, I forget what the stat is, but he's getting the best protection. He's getting something like 3.5 seconds. And there were sometimes in this past game we had a clean pocket for 5 seconds and couldn't make up his mind where the hell he wanted to go with the ball. I understand there's times where the protection breaks down because on some of those sacks you just had a free runner at him. But in some of those situations where he had to throw balls away, he had to throw them away because he just wouldn't let it go. You guys heard me talk about it many, many times. The most important element, the most important trait that a professional athlete can possess is confidence. If he doesn't have confidence, he doesn't have anything. I don't care how talented he is. I don't care how much potential he has. I don't care about all those other dynamics. If he doesn't believe in his mind of minds, and if he don't believe in his heart that he's the baddest dude on the planet, then guess what? It's going to be hard for him to succeed because he can't turn it loose and just put it on natural. Putting it on natural just means that I know what I'm supposed to do. I'm prepared about what I'm supposed to do. And when the opportunity presents itself, I'm just going to cut it loose and let's play the game. And Jalen is not there right now. He needs to cut it loose and let it go, okay? Every once in a while, you're going to throw an interception, okay? Nobody's going to beat you up about that just as long as you place the ball where it's supposed to be, where your receiver can make the catch, or it's an incompletion, or it's a 50-50 ball where you give your wide receiver a chance to knock it down if he can't get to it. Nobody's going to complain about that. Now, if you make a bad throw, yeah, we're going to talk about it. That's what we do. We're going to critique it. That's what we do. But you can't go out and play the position of quarterback in defensive mode like, oh, I'm trying not to turn it over, okay? The thing you think about, the thing you contemplate, the thing that drives you is the thing that you bring about. So his thought process is, I got to just go out here and rip it, okay? I got to rip it on time. When I see my guy, I got to let it go. And don't tell me he can't throw the ball on time or with rhythm. 3rd and 13, okay? He's got A.J. Brown on a 14-yard comeback. Boom, perfect ball. Before A.J. even turned around, the ball was in the air. Why can't he throw the ball like that all the time? Why can't he get in rhythm like that with his receivers all the time? If that's your primary, trust that that guy is going to, you know what it is? He's gun shy. And you can't play quarterback like that. Nick Sirianni needs to just tell him, listen, you got to let it go. Let it go. Our defense is playing lights out football right now. If you turn it over, they'll remedy it. That's why we got 3 phases. We got offense, defense, we got special teams, okay? When one element is not living up to the billing, guess what? The other two's job is to live up and to carry you until you get to a situation where you get your act together. The defense makes mistakes. How many times defense give up touchdowns? Then the offense has to go back on the field and recover that 7 points somehow, some way. Special teams mess up and give up field position on a kick return or a punt return. Guess what? The defense has got to go out on the field and do their job. So cut it loose, Jalen. Cut the ball loose. Believe what you see. Trust what you see. Step into the ball, the pass with confidence, and let it go. You got too many great receivers and too much talent around you not to do that. And oh, by the way, Saquon's going to do what Saquon does. Plain and simple. What I'd love to see the Eagles be able to do is coordinate their plays, their pass plays off their run plays. I like to see, them come out in a 2 tight end set and run their counter tray or run their trap plays and then go trap pass off of it because the linebackers have to react to it. Let's do it early in the game. Let's do it early enough where we establish the run and then the play action comes alive and things are so much easier for Jalen. Let's get in some no huddle and some hurry up because 2 weeks ago, 6 of the 10 longest plays against the Baltimore Ravens came out of no huddle. Let's get to no huddle early in the game. If Saquon rips off a 12-yard run, let's hurry to the line and go no huddle. If you throw a 15, 20-yard pass to A.J. Brown, let's hurry up and get to the line and go no huddle. Let's speed up the process because this offense seems to operate much more efficiently when they're in hurry up and no huddle than when they're huddling up every single time. Listen, the sky ain't falling. Stop with the chicken little. This team is just built different. They're built to win. We just got to get everybody on the same page and pulling in the right direction. Okay? AJ's got to understand that this is a new year, a different set of circumstances, and this team is a run-oriented team, and everything's going to come off the run. But Jalen's got to understand when you have opportunities to get the ball to your number one wide receiver, okay, he's upset because we had to struggle to beat a team that we should have blew the doors off. And in his mind, he's feeling like, hey, enough is enough. Throw me the damn ball so I can do what I do, so we can be up by 3 touchdowns by the time we get to the fourth quarter, and then we all sit down and let the twos get in and do it and get some experience. I know what's going on in his mind. But they got to get on the same page. This divisiveness is not going to help them in one iota. And Nick Sirianni's got to be the agent that nips it in the bud. He's got to be the one to quell it, stop it, shut it down right now. Okay? Listen, AJ, this whole thing about they don't like each other, something may have occurred. I don't know. Nobody knows for sure. But why would AJ Brown sign an extension to come back here, okay, if he didn't really want to play with Jalen Hurts? I mean, think about that. Because if he's got 1 or 2 more years, I'm just going to ride it out. I'm good. I'm going to ride it out, and I'm going to ride off in the sunset because I can't play with this dude. That's not the case. You don't sign a $30 million a year deal as a wide receiver. I think that's the numbers. And then realize after the fact that I don't like this guy and I don't want to play with this guy. That doesn't make any sense. He could have just as easily went in and said, you know what, Howie, I don't want to be here anymore. I don't think that I can coexist with Jalen Hurts. Get me up out of here. You can get 2 first-rounders and whatever it is that you need, but get me up out of here. He could have did that. He stayed right here and took the money. So that leads me to believe that he really wants to be here. And the reason why I say Nick Sirianni has to be the conduit is because if you got a $50 million quarterback and a $30 million wide receiver, that's $80 million of your salary cap. You better figure out how to get these guys to coexist. Get Jalen to understand that, you know what, the only way I can succeed is if he succeeds. And get AJ to understand the only way that I can succeed is if that guy succeeds. A meeting of the minds, come together, have a conversation, talk about what's going on the field during the game, collaborate on what you're trying to do in certain situations. If other quarterbacks and receivers can do it, why can't these guys do the same exact thing? Huh? Well, listen, you guys know where you're at. This is Seth Joyner Podcast. You can follow and tweet me at Seth on Twitter or X. Make sure you are subscribing and liking, turning on those notifications. Give me your comments and share over on YouTube. It's Seth Joyner Show, and you can tune in each game day with pre- and post-game show. We're on an hour and a half before kickoff, and then we're on for an hour and a half after the game. Myself, Derek Gunn, and Mark Farzetta right here on the same YouTube channel, breaking it all down for you. I'm gonna leave the defense alone tonight. It's just too much going on, and I got a little whiteboard thing I want to do for you guys, and then we got to take a little break, and then the last 30 minutes, we've got my ex-teammate and Hall of Fame finalist Eric Allen's going to join us to talk about the state of the birds. I think you guys will enjoy that conversation. We'll, yuck it up and have a good time. It's been a while since I chopped it up with him. Um, but I want to look at a couple of things on the whiteboard, um, things that kind of caught my eye. So what I want to do is I want to give you this play, okay? Give you an idea of what it is that pissed A.J. Brown off so much the other day. Um, First play here, okay? So Jalen gets the ball. Saquon steps. You get this guy coming in motion, okay? This guy went in motion and he kind of hooked up out here. You had AJ run a 7 route, and you had this guy push up inside and run a sail or an out route right there, okay? The safety was in here, okay? You had another safety that was in here that dropped down on this, and Jalen had him wide open right there. If he throws that ball, it's a touchdown, plain and simple. It looked to me like Jalen looked at him, wasn't sure what this safety was going to do right here, and decided to go to the check down. They got minimal yards right here, and AJ was hot from that point on. I think this is the play. This is the straw that broke the camel's back right here, okay? Then the other one was let me see if I can't conjure that one up in my mind. You had trips formation, I believe it was. So you had trips formation here, okay? It was down on the goal line, okay? Smitty ran the out route. You had AJ on the slant, and there was nobody within 20 yards of him, okay? And I think this guy, ran a crossing route right there. But you had AJ. He had AJ right here for a touchdown. And how in the world Jalen didn't see AJ coming across wide open is beyond me, because all of this is in his field of vision. But he threw the out route. Devontae caught it for a touchdown. But you can't tell me that he didn't see A.J. Brown right here. And that was another one. That was another straw that broke the camel's back. Some of the different things, what happened? I think I enlarged it. Oh, there you go. Some of the things that I think confused Jalen on Sunday, the Carolina Panthers did a lot of this, okay? Okay, here's your slot corner. Here's your slot, rather. Your wide receiver out here, and then your wide receiver here. So they line up a lot like this. Slot corner off, corner off, corner off. And here, sometimes they were even in their 2 safety look. Okay, in their 2 safety look. So when Jalen dropped back, it wasn't like there were opportunities to beat any of these routes here, because these guys, they were all dropping off, okay? They were all dropping off with 2 high safety. It was clear that Carolina was not going to let them beat them deep, okay? So you had situations where you had AJ free, you had this guy sitting down in here free, and these are the frustrations. These are the frustrations that, the wide receivers are going through with Jalen, because you had guys wide open all over the place with defenders behind him or to the right or to the left of him. But Jalen just won't let the ball go because he sees the defenders. You can't, listen, if you already know what the coverage is and he's got inside leverage on this linebacker, put the ball out here. So all the receivers got to do is just turn back to it and then turn and run, okay? But because this guy's in his field of vision, he's hesitant about actually letting the ball go, okay? One of the good things about, what the Eagles do is when they get this look, now Saquon becomes the beast of the moment. Because this defensive end turns here, you get a double team here, you get a double team here, and this tackle turns out, okay? Then these guys work up next level, okay? Jalen turns and hands the ball off, boom. Look at all of that space, okay? And anytime they get the too high safety look, this is what they should be doing. That should be an automatic. The minute I see a two safety high look, we ought to have an automatic check to a run play, okay? Because this is the look you're going to get. You're going to get a six-man box against a six-man box, and because the linebackers are off the ball, that means you can get the two double teams on their tackles the way they be beating our damn tackles up all the time. Get the push, get the movement, and let this guy, with all his dynamism, let him make a play like he always does. Conversely, okay, and this was the changeup. You know, sometimes Carolina would rotate, okay? This guy would get a little depth, they rotate him out, and they drop him down in the hole, and they go to single safety, okay? Jalen's got to understand his body language, okay? These guys are going to try to disguise it by lining up on the same line, okay? But in order for him to get down in the box or be effective in the run game, at some time he's got to start to creep. So the sooner they can get the play call in, the sooner Jalen can say, okay, I can check at the line. Because under these circumstances, once you drop the extra guy in the box, okay, now he's unaccounted for. He's blocking here. You got your double, right? And then this guy wants to work up to the linebacker. You got your double here. He wants to work up to the linebacker. He's just going to cut off. Well, this guy right here, he's the wild card. Because if you decide to hand that ball off, bam, a free hitter to the ball. So this is where you go play action pass. Fake it. Roll him out. Get something going here, because once that guy's in the box, especially if they're in any kind of man coverage or something, or even if you roll them the other way, this safety drops down, he takes the tight end, the two backers have got the back whichever way he goes. Now you got man situation. Okay, with a single high safety, AJ can do this all day long. All day long. Okay? You got your two-man routes here. Guy to the flat, this guy hooks up right in between the zone. All day long. You got all these things at your disposal. But this is what I'm talking about, running the football early and then allowing Jalen to get the play-action passes and all of those other things so that they can take advantage of the quick game and the passing game, and they can hurry up and get the ball out and make some hay. It's all there for him, you know. There's no doubt about it. It's all there for him. I just think that Jalen's got to get to a point where he says, hey, I'm just going to let it go. And the coaches got to get to a point where they put him in a better position to succeed. And then when he is in those positions to succeed, he just got to make the plays. He got to make the plays, all right? I'm going to take a quick break. When we come back, hopefully my man Eric Allen is waiting, and we'll chop up and talk about what's going on with the Eagles, some of this nonsense. Like I said, EA will tell you, we lived through it before, you know, where Randall wouldn't throw the ball to Mike quick because he was mad at Mike about something. And I'm like, dude, y'all costing us football games. Stop this nonsense. Stop this bullshit. Give him the damn ball. He's one of the best wide receivers in the National Football League. Y'all can argue about that and deal with that off the field, okay? And then we're all familiar with what we went through with T.O. and Donovan. We don't want to see that with this team that now sits at 11-2 with everything in front of them to be able to get to the playoffs and make a deep run at another Super Bowl. Be back in a sec.
It's happening again. Those missed tackles are starting to stack up. Your friends pleading with players who can't hear them. Sweating it out week after week. But not you. Why? Because whether they score or not, there's always another way to win on the BetParx app. New casino users score up to $1,000 bonus back in their first 24 hours.
At Ponley Hockey, we're neither a pawn nor a hockey team. In fact, I don't even know how to skate.
Cut.
We're the injury law firm that you want fighting for you.
With our vast network of attorneys across the country, we know the playbook on injury law.
It's how Pond Lee Hockey recovered billions of dollars for more than 100,000 injured and disabled workers.
And we know we can do the same for you.
So give Pond Lee Hockey a call. No other law firm will fight harder for you.
And you'll never pay a dime until we win.
It's the most wonderful time with the kids jingle. Be of good cheer. It's the most wonderful.
Whether your phone's broken or old, we've got you. With Verizon, anyone can trade in any phone, any condition. And get iPhone 16 Pro with Apple Intelligence on us. And iPad and Apple Watch Series 10, all three on us. That's up to $2,000 in value, only on Verizon.
Since 1893, Weber Display and Packaging has been Pennsylvania's leading manufacturer of corrugated packaging and displays. We're family owned with 4 Philadelphia locations, 2 converting facilities, a warehouse, and a fulfillment center. Designed through delivery, we exceed customer needs. Weber Display and Packaging. Our core values drive everything we do. Come join our team. All right, guys, welcome back. Hey, listen, I appreciate you guys hanging in there with me. I know that, most podcasts, people don't like to wait for you to come back out of commercials, but guess what, man? I got to pay the bills. So I got to make sure that I get my commercials in each and every week. And it's only 2 minutes out of the hour. So for you guys who hang in there every week with me, I appreciate you. Without further ado, I want to bring on the show, in my opinion, one of the best cornerbacks that the NFL has ever seen. And I must say that it's been a tragedy the last few years to watch my teammate Eric Allen not get into the Pro Bowl, when I know what a lot of these other cornerbacks and some of these other DBs have posted. There's no reason whatsoever that this guy shouldn't be in the hallowed halls of Canton, Ohio. And I'm praying with you, man. I'm hoping this year is your year for you and your family, that you deservedly get in this year, because you're long overdue, my man. By the way, how you doing, man? It's good to see you, Neck Roll.
Yeah, man. It is great to see you, man. You always do a great job. I love your breakdowns, your true self after each and every football game. Me and the boys always have you on some kind of social media going off and telling it like it is. But it's always great, man, to hear that you're doing well, to look at you, see you, man, you're doing your thing, man. Just really happy for you, man, and all the guys that played with us who are trying to do their thing, man.
Awesome, man. So listen, I know that the 900-pound gorilla in the room right now is, this team is 11-2, and you got another controversy between the quarterback and the number one wide receiver. We've seen what that looked like in our time a little bit.
Yep.
We watched it happen with Donovan and T.O. What you don't want to have happen is this hinder this team moving forward, because they're in such a good position at this point in time to do something special.
Yeah, I was surprised, Seth, to be honest with you, that it came out. Going back to not when we played, but just last year, this team was, I thought, in a really good spot to make some noise and just flounder in the playoffs because of these same types of issues. And these things have to be corrected before you can finish out, which is the most important. Now, every game's important, obviously, and you want to be consistent. And as a player, you want to play well in every game. But just like the playoffs are a different temperature, and like Buddy used to always say, December is a different type of football. And we're about to get into this month here where it is incredibly important that this Eagle football team is dialed in. And I'm not sure if, the younger guys understand, but as the season progresses, the guys in your building, scouts, all those GM guys, all those guys, they start to come back into the building to kind of get ready for this playoff push. And veteran football teams a lot of times lean on those guys to help a player in film prep. So usually, I can go to Peter Genta or someone say, hey, man, can you give me every 3x1 1st and 8, 40 plus, give me every route they ran. And if he's in the building or he's going to lean on a scout or something, say, hey, can you hook this up for EA? And so now I have that on Tuesday or Wednesday. So I go in the game and I'm like, oh, they line up here in this situation? Come on, dude. I'm going to run the slant for you. So the Eagles have to understand that they're such a good football team. People are going to start kind of directing all that energy on them. and all the little details and cracks, they're going to expose those things. So I was really surprised that this just came out at this part of the season.
Hey, man, move like 2 inches to your left so I can get you centered up on the screen. There, the other left, I'm sorry. There you go, perfect.
There you go.
Yeah, I mean, I just, this team has so much going for them right now. They got a young defense. I think this kid, Jalen Carter, is the next great defensive tackle in Philadelphia Eagles, history.
Yes.
You got two young guys in the secondary. Cooper DeJean kind of got taken to school a little bit last week by the old Wiley vet, Adam Thielen. But you know what? That's a good thing because, sometimes it's that's what makes you that much better. Because sometimes you can get to a point where you think you've arrived, but you know as well as anybody, you never arrive in this game. There's always something new and there's always something to improve upon. The linebackers, they've ignored the linebacker position for I don't know how many years. They haven't had a great linebacker on this team, since probably the year that they won the Super Bowl. But they got all the pieces that are in place, and you got this high-powered offense that can run the football and wide receivers, that both of them were 1,000-yard receivers last year. We shouldn't be dealing with this right now. They should be they should be foaming at the mouth about the possibilities, man.
You're right. They should. They should be talking about all the naysayers who was talking about the defense wouldn't be good, the young, the secondary wouldn't show up, the pressure on the outside wouldn't come to be, and the running back's too old, he's washed. Those are the things they should be celebrating right now. And and they're in a situation here where they have a great opportunity to kind of start laying the groundwork and the identity of who they are. And Seth, look, I think this year has turned back to the mid-90s. And I say that because all of the good football teams run the football, play good defense, come off the play action pass. Because of what has happened in Kansas City, and they're not that high octane, explosive team anymore, everyone is kind of dialed it back. You kind of focus on a running game or a running quarterback like the Bills. So this kind of reminds me of those 90s teams, the team that you're on that won the Super Bowl, the Packers, the Cowboys, all those football teams. You got to be able to run the football effectively. And then if you bring that eighth guy in the box, then we're going to kill you with the pass. And that's kind of what the Eagles, I thought, had like the blueprint this year for being able to do that. And I loved your illustration. It kind of shows you that I'm not sure if it's a processing thing for Hurts or it's a play calling thing. Because it's easy. If we played, for instance, we played later on when Chris went to the Vikings to kind of get him going, they would just raise up and throw him a hot route, just a quick hot route. So he'd catch it, throw a couple moves and then go out of bounds. First catch, 5-6 yards. So now he's kind of feeling it a little bit. And I don't see that in the Eagles game plan where they're going to isolate, go 3-by-1, put him on the backside, motion him back over away from him, throw him the ball, and then let him get down. So those kind of things, he gets his target numbers up, and then he feels like, man, I'm a part of the football game. So those kind of things, I'm not sure if it's a processing where they're fearful of allowing him to come to the line of scrimmage and just check to a different play or what, but they need to get that done, and that'll also help the running game be able to pop off even more so than it has.
Well, I look at things the way you do, and I'm really of the opinion that they need to try to establish the run game early, so that opens up the pass. And obviously, there's going to be other games. You remember I was telling the story when they went down to Baltimore 2 weeks ago. I told a story about when we went to Kansas City, and they had Christian Okoye and Barry Word, and we were the #1 ranked run defense. And we went down there with the intention that them big boys wasn't going to run on us. And the first 10 plays, David Craig went play action pass. The game was over at halftime, man. It was over at halftime. So, I mean, you're going to have those games where you're able to kind of mix it up a little bit and catch people off guard. But when you have an offensive line like this and a generational running back like this, Okay,
Yeah.
you got to establish that running game early, and you got a decent backup that you can give him a break where you don't have to give him, 15 carries in the first half.
Yeah.
But you have to establish that early in order so that when Jalen sticks that ball out, the linebackers and the safety got to respect the
Everybody.
fact that he might hand it off.
Yes.
Now when you pull it
Everybody's
back, to your
comfortable.
point, you get AJ like there's times, to your point, you talked about them just giving CC the ball, just throwing him the ball out there and let him do his thing. Okay?
Yeah.
There's times when I look in the game and I see a cornerback that's 8 to 10 yards off the ball on AJ Brown. Every other
Hey.
team in the National Football League,
Right.
Josh Allen, who else? Patrick
Stafford.
Mahomes. Patrick
Yeah.
Mahomes will do it in a heartbeat. He don't
In a
care what the
heartbeat.
play call is. If he look
Right.
out there and see D Hop out there and the guy's 8 yards off of him, he gonna stand up and give it to him. That's like a run play.
Yes.
Give it
It's
to him and let him
extended
do his
handoff.
thing. Because
Yes.
now you're gonna wind up in what? 2nd and 3, 2nd and 4. Now
Right.
you can come back and run it, or you can come back and go play action pass on 2nd down and get the
Exactly.
first down.
You
Oh,
can. Yeah.
it drives me
So-
crazy because some of the things that other teams are doing with great success, we could be doing with these wide receivers that we have, and we don't take advantage of it.
No doubt. And then it allows you even to dictate the tempo of the game. For instance, if you know that a corner on the opposing team is a great cover guy, but he really doesn't like to tackle a lot, for sure I'm lining my big guy on him almost every opportunity. And I'm just going to look over there. If you're off 7, 8 yards, I'm going to give it to him and I'm going to make you tackle. So now I'm using your weakness to strengthen what I'm doing. So now I'm going through the playbook. The playbook doesn't have to be 100 pages. It could be, you know what? This is a one-on-one game. When it comes down to it, it's about me and you. And if your game is weak as far as being able to tackle, I'm going to make you tackle. And those are things that this Eagles offense needs to start doing, dictating at every level. At the line of scrimmage, obviously with the offensive line, the running game, the middle of the football field, we have to find a way to be able to dominate the middle of the football field through the run and the pass, and then be able to outside, give it to AJ, let him do his thing early, and that'll add in the running game because it's an extended handoff. It's so when you're watching it, you're so frustrated because you see the potential of this football team, and you don't want an opportunity to get to the big game and win the big game to float away, because no matter where you are in your career, you never know what the next year is going to be like. You could have the same personnel, but it's not going to be the same team. The energy is not going to be the same. You're going to have coordinators who may get hired different places. So once you have this opportunity, man, you got to take it. I go back to 1988, my first year in the league. We get to the playoffs. The fog rolls in. You can't see, whatever. After the game, I notice I have a different energy than some of the older dudes. I'm like, man, we're going to be back here again. And, I'll be able to, pick a couple balls off and we'll be back the same. You got some other dudes who are like, hey, man, that might have been it for me. So it's really important that every football team, but really our team, really takes this opportunity and really seizes it, man.
Let me ask you this question. I think that, and this is just my opinion, and I'm curious what you think about it. The Eagles started off the first 4 games of the season. They went 2-2.
Yeah.
They beat the Packers in Australia. Defensively, they played a very aggressive game. Then they came back against Atlanta. They played really passive. Then they had the Browns. They were really aggressive. And then they played Tampa Bay, and they went passive. Then they came back after that, after the bye, and I know you probably heard the story, but the offensive lineman went in and talked to the coach. Listen, we got Superman back here in the backfield. We need to ride Saquon. So they come out and they run off 9 in a row behind Saquon, and he's broken the all-time rushing record in 13 games. Okay,
Right.
And he's on pace to break the all-time NFL rushing record. I'm this is. I looked at an EA like this. Okay, Jalen's struggling the first 4 games of the season. everybody's struggling because don't nobody playing preseason no more. So you're
Right.
really using the first four games of the season to kind of find your footing. He's got a new offense, a new offensive coordinator, new quarterbacks coach. I said, okay, when we come back after the bye, they need to implement more of a running attack. And
Right.
dare I say, make Jalen a little bit of a game manager and slowly but surely, step by step, kind of build him back up to where, he can get to 30 throws a game rather than
Yes.
having him throwing it all over the place. And just until he gets his confidence and offer the play action pass. I kind of feel like now all of a sudden the coaching staff is kind of falling – is kind of drunk with the run game, dare I say, because I'm the guy in Philly that's always run the damn football. Because you run the football, you do everything else. You know what I'm saying? But now I kind of get the sense that they're kind of drunk off of the run game now, to the point where Jalen is averaging. He's been averaging over the last 9 games 21 passes a game, man.
And Seth, that's exactly right. And that's why I say this Eagles team reminds me of those 90s teams where quarterbacks, Troy and all those guys were throwing the ball 25 times a game, leaning on Emmitt Smith. But in today's game, you have to find a way for each opponent. You have to have a little bit of something extra for each opponent. So just like you mentioned, I still remember, my shoulders are still sore from all those 9-on-7s that the corners had to be in on that Kansas City Chiefs week. Like everybody was in 9-on-7. It was 11-on-11. We were coming downhill. I had the big pads on. And so now they're at the point where they really need to start thinking about Saquon's rest. And I'm not saying, don't start him, but he needs to be fresh for the real run. So that gives him an opportunity to maybe throw the ball a little bit more, maybe shorter. So it's, again, you're not risking interceptions, but you're putting a stamp on your quarterback saying, I trust him to be able to get us into some third and manageables by delivering quick passes. That'll keep the receivers happy and will keep our guy fresh. So in the third and fourth quarter, when we need to maintain the football and win that time possession, he's there to do that.
It's really crazy because, for years, the Eagles' philosophy, and I used to argue with Joe Banner, the former GM of the Eagles, on Twitter all the time because he was like, it's a quarterback-driven league. You got to throw the ball. If you're not throwing the ball, you can't win. You got to throw the ball early and get a lead, and then you run the ball late in 4 minutes to run out the clock. That's how you balance up, the run-pass ratio. And I'm like, if you have a quarterback that can do that, you can get away with that. But the majority of the quarterbacks in the National Football League, they need a running game. Okay.
Yes.
They actually need that. That's of help and of benefit to them. I just feel like they've gone a little too far with the run game. And I'm not saying that because I don't want Saquon to break the record or continue to get right around 20, 25 carries a game because I think that he needs that in order for him to be productive and for the offense to really flow. One of the problems that the Eagles are having is early in games, man. So I chart every single game, man. I can go back. I'll take you all the way back to the Commanders game, okay? The first series, okay, the Eagles went against the Commanders. They missed the field goal, 10 plays, 45 yards, missed field goal. 6 plays, 11-yard punt. Three plays, 3 plays, 6 yards punt. 7 plays, 15 yards, missed field goal. 3 plays, 6 yards punt. And then they get a field goal after a 15-play drive, okay? And then they go off in the second half, field goal, touchdown, 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 okay? Then they come back against the Ravens, okay? Against the Ravens, they go 12 plays, 80 yards, field goal. 6 plays, 6 yards, punt. 10 plays, 57-yard, field goal. Then they get a touchdown. Game is over. The half is over on downs. And then they go touchdown, touchdown, field goal, touchdown. Okay? I'm telling you, man. I look at this stuff because it's really telling. That was actually against the Rams. The Ravens, okay, they go 4 plays, punt. 3 plays, punt. 3 plays, punt. 4 plays, punt. And then they go 6 plays, 49 yards, touchdown. 9 plays, 68 yards, touchdown. Okay? So
Yeah.
a lot of that. And then I track all the runs, too. So I'm tracking all of Saquon's runs. And in my opinion, he's not getting enough touches to make the offense viable in the first half. So what winds up happening is they're not converting third downs and they're not getting enough possessions. Now, last week, against the Panthers, they only had 8 possessions in the entire game for both teams. That's just not enough. That's not enough possessions. And again, in the first half, they went 6 plays punt, 3 plays punt. Then they got a touchdown. Then they punted again, and then they got another touchdown. So it's like, the rhythm of what they're trying to do, to me, a lot has to do with the play calling and how they're setting up the play calling. They're not getting off to fast starts. Do you know they haven't scored 1 touchdown in the first quarter all season long?
You know what, Seth? That's interesting because obviously I work with the Raiders. So I'm dialed in, when the games are on, I'm dialed in, either at the game or at a facility when the games are going on. But everybody knows EA got the side screen, and that side screen's on my birds, right? I know that the first 2 or 3 drives, we're not going to score. So I keep telling everybody, listen, if at the beginning of the second quarter, if the game is within 10 points, the Eagles are going to win the game, right? And they go, why do you say this? Like, you got to look at this team. Their first 3 or 4 drives are garbage, right? And I go to, so what I would do if I was a defender and I saw how dangerous the Eagles were, I'm looking at their first 15 to 20 scripted plays. Are those plays changing from week to week, or are we seeing the same type of scripted plays? Are you giving me the same formations and trying to do the same things out of these first 15 to 20 scripted plays? And if you are, those are things that will get you 3 and out, 6 and out, because now you're giving the defense an opportunity to process. Hey, could you line up here? I know you're going to do this. So we all have a book. And so the Eagles really need to, and if they haven't, they need to evaluate that first 15 to 20 scripted plays, because sometimes your coordinator can get used to, all right, here's what I do. Here's the kind of, here's what we're trying to dial in. So you got to break that mold sometimes. And those are the things that I learned a lot from John Gruden. And, because we early on, we would be in scrimmages and I would call stuff out. Oh, yeah, this is going to Jerry. Oh, this is going to Tim Brown. He's like, EA, what's going on? I was like, dude, your first 15 scripted plays are the same, right? Like, what do you want us to do? We're not going to hold off. This is a scrimmage before we're about to go in the game, so I'm calling your stuff out. So Rich Gannon was like, dude, that's I'm glad you said that. So that's what that's about. In my opinion, the Eagles really have to start to evaluate themselves and make this more about them opposed to the other teams that they're playing, because clearly personnel-wise, they're as good as anyone in this league. And there's no reason that this team should be going for 3 or 4 possessions with missed field goals or field goals, because once we get in 4th and short, we're going to basically go for it almost 98% of the time and make it. So it's all about really evaluating yourself and basically going against yourself, figuring out what kind of play calls can we get to that is not the same that first 15 to 20 plays. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, listen, that's an interesting concept. I was talking about it earlier. I think that, so I got this stat from the Ravens game. In the second half, I want to say it is 6 of the 10 plays that were 15 yards or greater came out of no huddle. Came out of hurry up. So maybe what they need to do is they need to come out in the first quarter, go hurry up.
Yeah.
And let this be your guide. Anytime that we have a play that's 12 yards plus, we're going to hurry to the line right now. We're going to go no huddle. Saquon rips off a 15-yarder, hurry to the line, go no huddle. If AJ catches AJ catches a ball, 20 yards, we're going to sprint up to the line, get set, and just go. Now you don't, to your point, now you don't give the defense a chance to kind of dissect what you're doing and what
Right.
you're in, because they suck and win trying to figure, especially the big guys, you
Yep.
know. So when you have
That's
a
a
stat
great
like
point.
that, I mean, if I see it, come on now,
Yes.
and I'm just studying on a week-to-week basis. They live
Right,
this stuff, 15, 16 hours a day. That's why I don't coach.
So that is a great point. In many teams, you see Andy Reid does that quite often. Middle of the game, just to kind of get the flow and the tempo going. He'll have this guy hurry up. I had an interesting conversation with Andy probably like 2 or 3 years ago. And I was like, man, what makes this kid so, so great? Talking about the quarterback. And he says, we could be looking at a Green Bay Packers or 49ers possession or quarter from like 88, 89, 93, 95, 96. And I'll just be sitting there and we'll be talking about it, and we'll get on the football field and we'll go through that process. So the book for him is wide open. Andy has so much trust that this guy understands exactly what the offense needs. So to be able to do that, though, Seth, you have to have great confidence in your quarterback. He has to be able to give you that ownership in practice, right? So if you don't see that in practice, there's no, Seth, there's no way you feel comfortable doing something like that in the game. And I always thought I got paid not to play games, but to practice and to work out in the off season, because I'll play for free. Like the practice, if you show your coaches that you're capable of handling those situations that are critically important, they're going to give you the opportunity and give you the leverage to do that in the game. And as you know, and many people probably who listen to your podcast understand BTF and AFC, automatic front and coverage. So it wasn't on you or Byron or Reichenbach to give us the answers to the test. We all had to know the formation and then the adjustment to the formation to all be on the same page. So we all had to be in the book. We had to show that in practice to be able to even get on the football field, right? So that's why instead of going back to college after I was drafted, I stayed in Philly and stayed over there in International City by myself so I could start, not be a backup. And that was, Buddy's thing. He was like, hey, man, you're a professional football player, right? So I want you to start. I think you have a great opportunity to start, but you're going to have to stay here and just get immersed in this. So I had meeting after meeting after meeting with Jeff Fisher and Wade Phillips to just try and catch up to you guys, right? So, but you got to show that in practice. So if our quarterback for the Eagles is not showing that he can have 3 or 4 plays that he's able to come to the line of scrimmage with, that's not a coach problem. That's a player problem. And he needs to, if he's not there, he needs to get there in a hurry.
Man, listen, I wish we had an hour, man. If I know it was gonna be this good, man, I would have just gave you the whole hour, man. But we got to do this again, man, because good Lord, there's so many similarities. You talking about your first off season? Buddy told me I went in my first off season, and he asked me, he was like, what's your plans for the off season? Like, well, I think I'm gonna go back to El Paso. I'm gonna enroll in school. He said, the off-season program begins February 28th. You're either going to be a football player or a student. Get the fuck out of my office. I'm like, what? So you know where I was on February 28th. And that off-season was the most critical off-season of my career because it was from that point on, drilling every day, watching film, lifting weights with Bam Bam and going over film and just – doing 2Z, 3Z drops and man trail and all that, just every day, from February to the coaches went on vacation in June. That's what we did. So when I stepped into year 2, I was a completely different player, man, completely different player. So we got to get together again and talk about that because I'm sure there's some similarities there. And to be honest with you, I understand why they did the CBA the way they did it, But I think it hurts today's players more than anything to not be able to have access to their position coaches and their coordinators in the offseason. That you got to go off campus to find quarterback coach and DB coaches and all that kind of stuff where you got guys right there where you could be working. You know, I understand why they did it, you know, but I think it hurts.
Do too. Yeah, some people take advantage of it, but I mean that's like when you're in that game, it's like I want it to be around it because there's a time when you're not going to be able to be in that situation, right? So I really embrace those moments, and I love practice, man. I just to be able to go out there and compete against Mike and Chris and the rest of the guys, man, it just made me such a better player.
Well, listen, man, I'm going to wrap right there, man, and let you run. Make sure you tell Lynn and the kids I said hi, man. It's always good to have you on.
You got me out of shopping, so that was good.
There you go. There you go. Yeah. Well, I'm pretty sure Lynn's pissed at me then because you supposed to be out there with that credit card tonight. She got it on her own. That you might be in trouble, brother. Anyway, man, listen. I appreciate you, man. Right I appreciate you. We'll talk soon, man. All right. Good luck to you, man. All right, y'all. That's the show for tonight. I'm going to cut it off right there. We'll be right back here, same place, same time. Hopefully, we got many more positive things, much more positive things to talk about next week than what we talked about tonight, primarily with the Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown thing. They got to find a way to iron it out. This is a city of brotherly love, after all. Anyhow, as usual, you guys take care of each other and be good to each other. But most important, make sure you love each other. I'll see you guys back here next week for sure. Peace.
Gentlemen, are you ready for a wardrobe update? Introducing Divine Nine's Custom Menswear, your clothier for truly unique, custom-made threads. With Divine Nine, you can design your own one-of-a-kind suit, jacket, slacks, shirts, golf pants, and shorts, perfectly handcrafted by our skilled artisans who will bring your vision to life. Prepare to stand out from the crowd with Divine Nine's Custom Clothier, official clothier of Seth Joyner. Custom clothing made for you.
Get peace of mind, drive certified at DavisCertified.com.
How do you make sure your next vehicle purchase is a quality vehicle priced right? Go to DavisCertified.com.
Every Davis Certified pre-owned vehicle has a 60-day, 2,000-mile powertrain warranty, plus 2 years of free oil changes, a 3-day exchange policy, and a free Carfax report.
Get peace of mind, drive certified at DavisCertified.com.
It's the most wonderful time with the kids jingle. Be of good cheer. It's the most wonderful.
Whether your phone's broken or old, we've got you. With Verizon, anyone can trade in any phone, any condition. And get iPhone 16 Pro with Apple Intelligence on us. And iPad and Apple Watch Series 10, all three on us. That's up to $2,000 in value, only on Verizon.
Pride, passion, and persistence. These are the values that drive us all at Ron Jaworski Golf. We strive to deliver outstanding conditions as well as playability for golfers of all ages and abilities. Our championship golf courses offer a variety of challenges from a link-style walk along the river to an escape into the pines and everything in between. My team at Ron Jaworski Golf is committed to delivering memorable experiences every single day. See all we do at ronjaworskigolf.com.
This is Parks. Parks, Pennsylvania's #1 casino experience. This is how you win.